Hello friends, I'm Dee. About to react to this black tea blog. This is day 7 of the Meg versus Tory trial. And apparently a witness has come forth and stated that Kelsey was the one doing the shooting. And in her title, she says that Tory tried to stop her. So let's see exactly what's going on in this video. Let's watch.
I think this is good tea. I don't think the internet has seen this at all. This is the best tea.
Oh, speak on it, brother.
Tory and Meg did not have like a one-time thing, or wasn't like slight. No, they were all right. So this is what EJ testified, that during quarantine, these two basically booed up, and during quarantine, they stayed together a lot. They hung out together a lot. They traveled together. EJ said that he saw or dropped off Meg with Tory on at least 10 occasions.
See, and this is something I was wondering about. I'm like, why is EJ spilling all this extra ass tea if this is her supposed friend? But it's come out that apparently Meg is no longer friends with a lot of people that she was friends with back in 2020 when this occurred. So I don't think they're cool at all anymore. So this is why he's spilling all this unnecessary tea. Because we ain't asked for all this. Why are you giving all these extra ass details that's painting Meg in this poor light? You know what I mean? Because yes, they've subpoenaed him to come to court, but he ain't got to give up all this. He could just answer their questions, be very vague or very short with his answers, but giving up this extra tea as far as, oh, I done dropped her about 10 times to see this nigga. They was traveling together and fucking all the time and booed up during quarantine. And oh yeah, when she's drunk, she real aggressive. She turned into a whole different person. And oh, when she was in the pool with Kylie, she told Kylie that she thought she was the lame, so she was shading her in the pool. This is all the shit that he said about her. And it's like, sir, you doing a lot at this point. I would personally feel some type of way if I was Meg. By the way, I want to make it very clear, I am not on nobody's side during this case. I do not care. This is not concerning me at all. So whoever wins, it's like, hey, it is what it is. Well, I'm going to say whoever wins because this is Tory versus the state. But you know what I mean. In the court of public opinion, I'd say whoever wins. I have no dog in this fight at all. So it is what it is. Whatever happens, happens. But yeah, I am just observing everything that's going down, and he's doing a fucking lot. He can answer their questions without giving up this tea. So these people are shady. But Meg is shady as well. She also is not a good friend. So this is not trying to make it seem like she's the angel in this situation, because she clearly fucking this man behind Kelsey's back. She ain't shit. So,
and that in general, that in quarantine, when people were picking up little groups and who they're going to hang out with and who their circle was going to be, Meg and Tory and their little circles were basically quarantine buddies, taking trips together, hanging out together. Listen, don't let anybody ever tell you that there was no relationship there or that it was a minor thing.
Better than TV. Hollywood writers can't make this stuff up. Wait until you hear what the eyewitness testimony was this morning at the Tory Lanez trial. They asked Mr. Kelly, do you know why you're here? He said, absolutely. The defense attorney put up a picture of the back of his home. You could see a driveway. They had him draw a square where the SUV was parked. It was right on the curb of the back of his house, 10, 15 feet. His window is overlooking it. He stepped out onto his Juliet balcony and he watched for several minutes as Meg the Stallion and Kelsey, the two females, he didn't identify them by name, got out of the car and they were engaged in a fight. It was violent. It was quite aggressive. It started with arguing that woke him up in the middle of the night. Where his house is, often him and his son are woken up in the middle of the night by people who stop in and around the back of his home. This was another night, arguing, escalation, two women fighting. He watched the whole thing while standing on his balcony. Oh my God, it gets crazier. As he looked down on a fight that he described as quite violent, he then saw the larger gentleman, this is presumably the security guard Quan, come and violently try to separate them. Eventually, all four were involved in what he called an aggressive, everyone fighting, essentially just a melee, a free-for-all between four people in the middle of the night, right outside of his back window. He said at one point he saw one woman go back into the car. At that point, he saw a muzzle flash. Then he said there was a man, and after the first few shots from the woman came off, he saw the man getting involved with the woman, and more shots went off. On cross-examination, the prosecutor asked him, did you see the man shoot? He said, yes. I saw the shorter man with the gun shooting violently in the air at least 5 times. Okay, wait, what? That's not what you just testified. Then the defense attorney went back and asked him, I thought you said you saw the woman and then you saw the man shoot. And he's like, yeah, you have to understand, it was just a crazy free-for-all and it all happened very quickly. And then he said the most shocking thing that has come out in this case, which is that after the shots went off, one woman crawled further away, that the 3 people then went over there and beat her violently while she was on the ground. They picked her up. They looked like they were going to drag her and throw her into the river. Instead, they dragged her across the street, put her in the car, and drove off. The prosecution, we're on lunch. The prosecution is going to come back and basically they're trying to build the case that this witness is lying because he's intimidated by the defense, that he never said anything about the muzzle flash going off near Kelsey, and now he's saying all this because he's scared of telling the truth. We'll see how that comes out on direct. Here's a fact, though. He has been consistent about a couple things. One, the 2 women were outside that car fighting for several minutes. Escalated, started with an argument, then it got quite violent, and the security guard came out to try to separate them. The idea that the jury would credit Meg's testimony, which is just completely contradicted by this eyewitness, is highly unlikely. The prosecution has major work to do to save their case, which is absolutely on life support right now.
Jeez. What the fuck? This is such a shit show. I don't see how the jury can come to a guilty verdict for Tory. I think he's going to get off because there are way too many contradictions. There are too many conflicting stories. You have individual witnesses who are contradicting themselves and they have different, versions of what occurred and they getting caught in their own lies, or maybe they're not recalling things correctly, but it's too much doubt here. What the fuck? I don't see him getting convicted at all. This is a shit show. This is a hot ass mess. And he's supposed to be an unbiased witness or whatever the case. They said he had a British accent and he doesn't seem to know who these people are because he's describing them as, the short woman and the short guy. So he doesn't seem to know who they are. He's saying, who knows, but whatever. And I looked at what was said in court on Twitter. I forgot who posted it, but somebody who was in court, they posted it, and they stated that he said Kelsey, or the shorter woman, she did the shooting first. But this is my theory, okay? Obviously, I wasn't there, so this is just what I think. But it sounds like they got into a fight, they meaning Kelsey and Megan. They got into a very violent fight. Kelsey is very short, apparently. She's 4'11", they're saying. Megan is a big bitch, okay? She's around 5'10"-ish. Almost a whole foot taller than Kelsey. And this is not a dig, it just is what it is. She's tall, okay? I've always wanted to be tall, so no shade at all. It is what the fuck it is. She's a taller stallion of a woman. Alright? So she beating the brakes off Kelsey, okay? It seems. She was beating her ass. Kelsey probably, got scared and was able to get away, grab the gun and start shooting to probably scare Meg off or get her off her or whatever the case. Okay? And then Tory brought his little leprechaun ass over. This is my gun. What the fuck is y'all doing? He mad, da-da-da. Because the witness said that Tory was very angry. He was very agitated. So he what the fuck? So then he got the gun and started shooting it on some, movie shit. When there's chaos and somebody take a gun and they shoot in the air, try to get everybody's attention. And everybody hey, all y'all stop. That's what I feel like occurred. But maybe one of the shots, hit the ground or hit a pole or something. And it ricocheted and hit Megan's foot. Because it has been stated that Meg had bullet fragments in her foot. That's why there were no, bones or anything really hit. She was able to twerk the next day, as y'all say, or whenever that was when she was dancing or whatever she was doing. It's because she wasn't shot directly in the foot. That, the bullets ricocheted and hit her feet. So that is what I think occurred. And that's probably why Kelsey is saying that she doesn't want to incriminate herself, because she knows that she was fighting Megan and she knows that she shot the gun first. That's why there was gunpowder residue on her. That is why this eyewitness says that he saw her with the gun, or whatever the case, or the flashes come from her. You know, so that's why she's been acting so weird, is because she has something to do with it in that regard. But because she didn't actually shoot Megan, that's probably why Meg is not mentioning that part of the story. She probably is putting all the blame on Tory, even though she's no longer friends with Kelsey. I'm sure she doesn't want her to go to jail, and then she just had a baby. I'm sure she has some type of compassion towards her, so she does not want to, get her involved in all of this and get her in trouble. So that's probably why she didn't mention it, and she's just going to put the blame on Tory, because maybe the shot that he let off was the one that ricocheted and hit her. So that's why she's like, no, nigga, it was you. Like, yeah, she shot the gun first, whatever, but you were the one who shot it, and then the shit hit my foot. So that's what it sounds like occurred. I could be wrong, obviously, but that's the vibe that I'm getting. Also, because I've been looking at so many people talking about this story who are in court on like Twitter and whatnot, and I've seen different things on Instagram. So it's just a whole bunch of information rushing at me that I recall seeing. But I do also recall them saying that on the body cam footage or an audio of like one of the officers, that Tory told Kelsey everything will be okay. Because she said, oh, I'm hyperventilating. And he said everything will be okay, that they don't know nothing. I don't know how true that is. But that's the fuck I read or heard. I don't recall. So, allegedly. Take that with a grain of salt. But I'm not making that shit up. I wouldn't pull that out my ass. I either read it or saw it or heard it somewhere. All right? And it just seems like Kelsey was involved and how guilty she's acting. She was involved to a certain degree, but she's like, hey, but I didn't shoot you. Because, yeah, I let off a few shots, but the one that I let off didn't hit your foot. So that ain't got nothing to do with me. So I feel like she's trying to protect herself in that sense. And she probably was trying to put all the blame on Tory because, technically the shot that he let off was the one who hit Megan. And she's trying not to implicate herself. She's trying to protect herself. I'm like, no, it was him, it wasn't me. So that's how it appears. But I don't fucking know. We will see as time goes on. But yeah, this case is a hot ass mess. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to convict him. Like this is too much. It's too confusing. And when, juries come together and come to a verdict, they have to be on the same page. So if there are too many people who are just like, nah, I can't convict him on this. Like, nah, this don't sound right. Then they're not gonna be able to convict him. So there's that. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this stuff. Let me know what other videos you want to watch, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.